Good morning. I just thought I would check in. It has been a while, and I do have some reasons for that, some excuses. I have been actually back. Yesterday, it was a week back from going to Arizona for 3 weeks and driving over 3,000 miles. I do not recommend. I do not recommend that without having a longer time frame to travel that far. But that's kind of how it goes for me when I start doing a, a trip. Sometimes that's what happens. But well, I had planned to try uh, to post while I was out on my trip to Arizona. And let me backtrack because it's been, gosh, it's probably been 5 weeks maybe since I posted. I'm maybe right around there. But I was sick for 2 weeks, 2 full weeks before I really felt much better. I don't even know what hit me, but it just started out. I went out and did some weed eating in my yard, which was much needed, and I am trying to do those things myself to build up some strength. And but what happened was I got started and I was doing good and doing actually better than I thought. But afterwards, within a couple hours, I started feeling so bad. I think that dust and all the stuff that goes along with mowing your yard. Somebody's passing by here. Uh, all that stuff just got up into my sinuses and all that stuff. I think that had a lot to do with it and the dirt and stuff. And I just have a struggle with stuff when it comes to when it comes to breathing. So, anyway, I started feeling bad and progressively got worse to where I was just feeling awful. And I'm not a big, I do go to the doctor, I'm not saying that. But I do try to kind of practice medicine on myself. And which is a-okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to find home remedies and stuff like that. And a lot of stuff really helps without having to go to the medicine route. And I'm even talking about the over the counter stuff too. And you know what? Not everybody agrees with that, and that's okay. That's just me. So, anyway, I just kept feeling so awful. And so, it was about 5 days before I actually did something medication wise. And because I just really try to let my natural immune system just let things flow through. So, anyway, I started kind of then medicating and looking up some stuff on what to do. And I thought I was starting to feel a little better, but it took another 9 days or so to get completely through that stuff. And rest is the very best thing, of course, sleeping. But sometimes during that kind of stuff, you can't even hardly rest. You can't sleep, and because I have stuff with my lungs and breathing, sometimes it's a little bit tougher for me to get through that stuff. So anyway, that was one of the reasons why I haven't posted. But I finally did get through it. Then I was just continuing to have I did have a cough, and that hung on for a while. And but finally, about 2 weeks in, I started feeling completely well. So then the next thing I had to do was I had to start getting ready for the trip I had already planned. Now this was at the end of September, and I actually wanted to leave prior to October 1st, but that just didn't work out. I started doing some stuff on my trailer, and I still plan on doing a video of what's going on with my trailer. Um, I actually, right before leaving, when I was starting to prepare and getting things cleaned out in the trailer, a lot of work has been done on the outside, and I was really happy about that. And I myself had to do a little bit of touch up and stuff like that. Uh, but I didn't get quite done before I left, but I did go and I decided I was going to get a new to me, it's new, 2020 uh, vehicle, a Honda Pilot. And I just had been praying about it, and I finally decided that I was going to do that. And I had a friend kind of helping me. So I went to one of the dealerships in San Antonio area and sat down with them. And of course, you know, I do not like that process. I just don't. And being by myself, but I did. The friend that helped me had owned a car dealership, so that helped a lot. I still just don't like that. I don't like that for the process of buying a new car. I guess nobody does. So anyway, I had prior to going down there, I had been on and found this dealership that had this Pilot that I found out was actually a very decent car. They last a long time as long as you maintain them. And I know I'm kind of rambling, but this was the process. I had the color in mind and everything. I either wanted a white one to match the trailer or a kind of like a silvery one to also match the trailer, because the exterior and some of the interior has gray and white. So, and then I have the little awning thing that I put on or had put on was like a corrugated metal that was a newer sheet, and so that was kind of a silvery color. Anyway, I wanted it to match. I'm kind of that way with that, and so I found a white one, and then I ended up calling them and with the advice of my friend and talking with them, and he talked with them a little bit too. So I ended up going down there, and so I ended up finding a very, very decent. The price to me, you know, I just didn't want to spend like $35,000 or $40,000 on a brand new vehicle, and I didn't because it was used, of course. And I just think the best way to shop is to find a good used one that isn't too old. And so, anyway, I did. And so I ended up buying that, and I felt it was a pretty decent price for what I got. And so it's a SUV, so I could still, without the truck only gets like 8 miles to the gallon when I'm towing, when I'm pulling the trailer. So this, I found on my trip that this gets about twice that. So that was not great, but it was more acceptable. And so anyway, I did that prior to my trip, and then I got it home, and I was still pushing to go prior to October 1st. And then I realized, and thank God I really thought about this. It had all the stuff to hook up the trailer, and it had the plug. I didn't realize that the plug that I was going to need wasn't actually ready for what I needed it for the trailer. So also my friend, he actually did a lot of work to get my so that the tail lights would work on the trailer. So he got that all fixed up, and it did take a little while. I wanted to pay him. He refused to let me pay him. Uh, I watch his dogs sometimes, so he said I do a lot of things for him, so he did not want me to pay him. I was going to, and so anyway, I got that all set, and it just seemed like just little things with having a new vehicle that you have to prepare for that you don't realize till you're actually getting ready to do what I was getting ready to do, which was to go on an extensive trip and go a lot of miles. So, anyway, I did get that all set up, and I did get quite a bit of the stuff done that I wanted to get done. Not everything is done in the inside, but I did have some things that I definitely wanted to get done. And I tried to prepare my home, which is this suite, this big old suite. And then I also have a barn that's made into like like a tiny barn home. So I have things that I needed to take care of, and so I was trying to leave things kind of as tidied up here as I could, and I didn't do that because things just kept coming up that I had to take care of, all to prepare for the trip. And it had to do with the new vehicle and getting things straightened out with that. So October 1st is when I actually left, and I actually technically could have spent a couple more days doing stuff that I really wanted to do here at home before taking off, but I didn't. I get the itch to travel, and so I'm a little impatient with that. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But because been doing this since 2016 part time while I was still working, and now um, when I moved here to Texas, Northwest San Antonio area, I was, working on the travel trailer. Then somebody asked if he could build me a tiny barn, and so that's what I did. So that took precedence over everything else that I was doing concerning the travel trailer. That's how it got put off to, I started working on it, or having somebody work on it at the end of May, I think, or early June. Anyway, so it got pushed off another like 2 years or over 2 years before I actually started doing what I wanted to really do with that. And so, anyway, I took off for Arizona, and I originally had planned to take my time because I like to do that. I don't like to rush, and I like to, stop and smell the roses, let's say. And so I stop, I'll see a sign and go, oh, that looks neat. And I'll go and take a little detour and go check things out. And that's just kind of how I like. I'm very spontaneous, and I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And, you know, there's some good in that, and there's some not so good in that. So, anyway, I just, once I got out on the road and realized, oh, my grandson's birthday, it was the 5th of October, so I wanted to try to get out there and possibly get to see him for his birthday. So I kind of started speeding up my trip. And I get to Arizona, the Phoenix area is where I go, of course, and with plans of also going up north. But when I got there, it's been pretty hot in San Antonio, longer than the other 2 years that I've been here, during this time of year. And in the Phoenix area and in Arizona, oh my God, it still was so hot. And I, take my dog too, so I have to plan around the weather. I like to, a lot of nomad people travel with the weather, as a lot of you probably already know that. And so when I got there, it was still over 100. Like, it was, I think one day it was like 106 out. And it's way too hot. I don't have air conditioning as of yet in the travel trailer. I do have a fantastic fan. That helps a lot, but not when it's that hot. You're not going to be able to camp out that way. And so I had planned, I stayed at my son's one night or maybe two. And the reason why I don't just stay there is because everybody in my family has dogs. And my dog likes other dogs, but excuse me. My dog likes other dogs, but for some reason, one of my daughter's dogs, the female, does not like my dog, and nor does well, it's they weren't attacking my son's dogs, weren't attacking my dog, but I was putting him outside to kind of play and get used to the other dogs. And one of the dogs he's been around extensively a few years back, but most of them he hasn't been. And there was some puppies, and they weren't terrible, but they were just surrounding him and barking at him, and he was just sitting there not wanting to. He doesn't want to fight with them. He doesn't want to do any of that. So I just don't like to have all that drama with dogs and stuff. So, and my sister's out there too. She also has dogs, and her female doesn't like doesn't like my dog either. And he's just he's just perfect for me because he's very compliant, and him and I just have a thing. We live together well. So anyway, I just didn't want all that stuff, and plus it was just too hot. So I headed up north, went to Prescott area, and um, it was much cooler. And I camped out there for about 5 days. And I'm not going to go into some of the detail on this tape, just kind of catching you up on where I've been. So I stayed there for 5 days. And then there's another area up in Cottonwood, and Camp Verde area is also a really nice area. And I had other plans during this time because my sister had her birthday and my daughter had her birthday, and which was going to involve my daughter's birthday, which was the 19th. She and her friends were already planning a camping trip right up near Cottonwood, where I went up to get cooler anyway. So that was all part of the plan too. And I got to visit some with my sister and talk to some friends, and had planned to meet with several people, but I just can't fit everything in. I try. But one of my friends went up to Jerome, which was really neat. If you haven't been to Jerome, that's a really neat town. And I'll kind of maybe go into details in another video about that. So I went up to Jerome one day, which was really nice, but it really felt like it was freezing cold. It was freezing cold, and I was trying not to complain because I was complaining about the heat in the Phoenix area. And then I get up there, and I think it actually, they had a little bit of flurries. It kind of disappeared as soon as it hit the ground, but that's how cold it got for probably about 30 minutes. And ate at a restaurant up there. And so I got to see a really close friend and visit with her and catch up, and that was really nice. But then I went, gosh, what did I do? Oh, so then I had the birthday party / camping event with my daughter and her friends. That was really great. And I had reserved a spot in the Camp Verde area, and I was going to stay for till the 26th. But I will tell you, by the time I had already been there almost 3 weeks, and after my daughter's birthday, that's my daughter. So that was so special to me. She turned 40 this year. And so I once I was done with that, I was I was done. And that's how it kind of goes. Kind of like, oh, I'm going to go on a camping trip tomorrow. That's kind of how it is when I'm ready to leave. I'm just like, I was going to stay another week, and I was going to be, camping by myself, which is what I do. And that's all fine. But I was ready to go. I was just ready to go. And I had spent some time out in very close to Sedona, also in an area where nomads go on these dirt roads and stuff, and go out and they park and camp, and it's really kind of neat too. So, but I was done. I was ready to go. So I actually stayed one night in the RV park that I had reserved, and then I packed up. I let them know that I was unfortunately gonna have to leave and go, and so it was all fine. And so I started heading back home, and actually, this is so probably so bad, but I start out that again, I can take my time, but once I get on the road, it's a different story. And so, what probably should have taken a couple days to get back home in order to really rest and stuff, no, I was back. I think I left at about 9:30 in the morning and got back here to Texas in, I think it was 21 hours. And I did actually, I stopped and slept uh, in just past El Paso. I slept, and then there was some other things that happened. My somehow my the plug that goes in to keep the headlights going on the, not the headlights but the tail lights on the trailer, somehow got hung up on something and it ended up unplugging it. I did not know that because I did checked prior to El Paso and everything was good, because I do check my lights and all this stuff. Everything was good. Well, somewhere along the way, something hit that plug, unplugged it, and then it was all frayed, and not only frayed the wire, but also tore off the plug. So that is the only reason I stopped. So anyway, that was my trip. And so I actually had to stop there, and that's why I did stop, so that I could wait till the sun came back up. And I know, yeah, I should have got it fixed, but at that point I was approaching areas where it wasn't going to be easy to find somebody to help me fix it. And so I just waited till the sun came up, and then I got in and I finished my trip and got home at about 6:15. And now I've been home a little over a week. So anyway, I just thought I'd share my story, but I did want to just mention this, had a lot of reflection, and this trip was a little more challenging as I get to maybe tell a few more stories about what happened on my trip. But you're going to face, although it's really great, it's wonderful to take a trip and to get some alone time and time with family and all that. You just never know what's going to happen along the way. And I spend a lot of time talking to God and all that. And I'm very thankful for that I have that within me, to make it through some of the challenging stuff that pops up in life, whether you're at home and doing stuff or whether you're out traveling and doing stuff. And sometimes I think even more so when you're out traveling. So anyway, I hope you have a good day. I'll share some more stuff later. This is getting a little bit long, over 23 minutes. So hope you have a good day. Bye.